Do you ever wish you could have somebody come in and analyze your SAP escalation project to be able to figure out where you're stuck and how to get unstuck? Hey, I'm Anita Anello, the Wealthy SAP Consultant. So, welcome to the live today. So excited to be here to teach you guys. So, I have a process that I walk clients through that's called the de-escalation breakthrough formula. And in that, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through two of the 5 steps that we walk clients through. So a couple of things. Number first, when we're going in and looking at these escalation projects, so just so you know, just set the stage here. The standard for an escalation project for me and my team is that these are projects, SAP projects that are significantly over budget, significantly over time, possibly on the verge of lawsuit. It depends on the parties, the customer and the channel partner. So we want to be able to equip both of those parties right now today by this teaching session. So the first thing that I do and my team and I do is go in and assess the situation. So in my opinion, one of the worst things we can do is go in and already assume that I know what it is that's going to take to get somebody out of escalation. So my assessment and the approach that my team and I take, we've been doing this for more than 20 years, is we really sit down with the SAP customer and we really listen and understand what's going on, what have you done so far, what are the big hangups from your perspective, and really gather that information, listen to what's going on, hear the pain points. And yes, there is a certain amount of, because I've been doing this for so long, there is a certain amount of like, oh, I can see how we can solve that real quickly. But more than anything, I push aside that desire to solve the problem right then and there. And I really put on my active listening skills and hone those skills and tune up my emotional intelligence to really watch the countenance that's happening on somebody's face, the voice inflections that happens when they describe their pain of being in the middle of an escalation project. A lot of the projects that I'm dealing with are couple 100,000 or $1 million over budget. They're just not just a couple of days behind schedule, but months or longer. I've had clients that have been years behind schedule, and it's so tragic when we see these projects. But here's the good news. We can always get somebody out of escalation. Out of the hundreds of projects that we've handled here, my team and I have done this for so many years. We can always get somebody out of escalation. We're confident about that. So first step in the 5 step process is assess. And like I say, it's really being able to actively listen to what's being said. The other thing that I do is I listen real closely for what's not being said. I think there's incredible value in listening to what people aren't saying, um, being able to hear what's yeah, there's so many things that are said when somebody's frustrated, when somebody is stressed, when somebody is in the middle of conflict. But I'm also listening very intently for things that aren't being said. That's a big deal as well. The second step in the process that I walk clients through is then I go through an interview. So, assessment happens with an SAP client, and that's super valuable to understand where they are, what are their pain points, and how can we solve them. And take really copious notes along the way and being able to understand and talk to each and every one of the main key players that are a part of the project. But the second step is to be able to interview. Often, what I like to do in the interview phase is I love to be able to interview the channel partner and understand what's taken place from their perspective. Because oftentimes there's perspective on both sides of an escalation that once we understand both of those as like a independent third party, I'm a cheerleader for everybody. I want to be able to see this relationship with the partner and the customer come back together. I have the unique ability to listen to both sides and without emotion come through and say, oh, I understand your perspective. I understand your perspective. And here's what we're going to do. I'm listening for like the through line that's going to help the project be successful. So in the interview stage, I will interview the channel partner, the practice manager, the consultants that have been on the project, any other developers that have been involved. And then if there are any other people on the client side that weren't involved in that initial meeting, we'll invite those folks in as well to give some feedback. Because sometimes you have executive level individuals that are seeing challenges and escalations and problems from one angle, but those that are really down in the trenches and doing the work, they will have often a very different perspective. And all of that is super valid. We want to be able to hear all of that. So those are the first two steps in the de-escalation breakthrough formula that I walk clients for. If you want to hear about more, we'll make sure and post a link to schedule a call to book some time and we can have a chat. So looking forward to hearing from each of you. I hope this is super valuable training today, and we'll see you again tomorrow.